And we have come to the end of the road.
To the
end of WrestleMania season. In this time. And this time. Take it over, Dwayne.
Ooh-wee. End of the road. End of the road. End of the
Houston, we have a problem.
Yes! What you gonna do? 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 Oh yeah.
Hey, yo, if my dad hears that, you may have to carry on the Wrestling Wrealm by yourself because he gonna bury me somewhere because he told me I wasn't allowed to sing in public.
Oh wow! Oh, it don't get no more public than this. You in trouble.
Exactly.
You are in trouble, buddy.
Hey,
Mr. Howard, I didn't know that. He never said that before we got started. It was his idea. I had nothing to do with it. I started feeling the song and I just started flowing with it. I was just going with it.
I feel good that the brand is in good hands.
Yeah, that's just I'll do my best to carry on. We'll figure it out with this. Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Let me stop before the world really think I'm. But you know what? He got grandkids now, so I fulfilled my promise. So he probably was like, "Nah, I'm gonna let you stick around and let that come back to you, buddy."
Oh yeah, exactly.
Oh man, ladies and gentlemen, if this is the first time listening, welcome to Wrestling Wrealm. Now, WrestleMania season, the realness. This WrestleMania tour, man.
Golly, man, this is your fault. This is my first, WrestleMania week. It's finally come to an end. The tour is over for me, at least. You might have one more appearance or not. But goodness gracious, my first one.
I'm telling you, you think the tour is over. You just getting started, buddy. Did you see that quality of conversation that you took to About Nothing But Sports and to the Wrestling Marks of Excellence? Oh boy, you better get ready because the invites are coming.
Look, man, I don't mind it, but goodness gracious, that first week though, I was like, oh, this is intense. but we made it. We're here now. We feel like it's weird because now like we're doing our show. Like okay, now I get to relax.
Yeah,
I don't have to be so professional, Phil. So I'm just like, whew, man,
yeah.
This is what you do on a regular basis.
Hey, yeah, man. You know, I love it. Love every bit of it. One, I'll give a huge shout out to my brother. He's sitting here in the studio with me, Hugh Diddy.
You did it in the building.
Hazmat 3 photos. Did I get that right? I think I did. Yep, he gave me the head. Yep, so head nod. So Hazmat 3 photos. Shout out to him. Captured some of the behind the scenes moments. I was like, yeah, the realness gonna like this because he wants to document everything.
They were freaking dope. I'm sitting in the room, right? And I'm scrolling through social media. I'm like, where Brian getting these tough photos? I was like, oh, shit. I said, Hugh Diddy's in the building. I forgot he was there. I said, yo,
with the heavy artillery, bro.
I can tell by the photo. I said, oh, yeah. I said, oh, yeah, I forgot he was there. I said, oh, he brought out the big guns for this one, man. That's exactly what I'm talking about. I was like, oh, yeah, that's tough. So you're absolutely right about that.
Yeah. Shout out to him, man. Shout out to shout out to Ashley Baker having us on About Nothing But Sports. I want to shout out to Glenn Thomas having us on the Wrestling Marks of Excellence. Then I want to give a shout out to my bloodline, my family, my sister, legally my cousin, Britt Waters, having me on my Wrestling Opinion show. Shout out to Rafiq for having me on the Nothing About That Sports Talk. And shout out to Mixmaster B for having me on his Mixmaster B Radio, his show. And I just got word earlier today, my boy Norm hit me up from down in ESPN Louisiana, Lafayette. I think I got it right. But he said, hey bro, we gotta talk WrestleMania, 2 black women. So I'm excited.
Don't forget Blitz for being on our show.
Yeah, definitely for our show. We got to give a huge shout out to our brother Blake Blizz. Y'all see him on here a few times, but this is a time where we really got to catch up, because anytime him, Dwayne, and I get together, it's always a good time, no doubt about it. We talk wrestling, talk life, As y'all heard, if you haven't, go back and listen to that. Yeah, it was before WrestleMania, but I promise you, you will be entertained. So, and that's sort of what the preview, y'all get a little bit of that when we bring out, when we do our sit down, this big show that I can't wait to release. I don't know if they ready for it, yo. 10 years?
10 years. 10 years is a long time, and a lot has happened in 10 years. So, man, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be therapeutic. I'm looking forward to it. An hour long sit down about. Is it going to be just an hour?
I don't think so. I got a memory like I remember so much. And the thing is, you said therapeutic. You know what I mean? Which includes spoiler alert, my first WrestleMania trip, which Hugh Diddy was a part of.
Oh yes, and to see he was there.
He was there, and Dwayne Allen was getting a lot of phone calls. Therapeutic,
and they were not the phone calls I was expecting too. I'm like, wait a minute.
Mm-hmm. But we just wrapped up this WrestleMania, man. Overall, how do you feel? Just now that we still have the same Universal Champion that we went in with. Mm-hmm. Night 2, I think we kind of saw this coming. But how do you feel?
Overall, I had a blast.
Mm-hmm.
I had fun. I always say it like like I'm burnt out, like I'm tired. At my age, when I watch professional wrestling, the most I can ask for is that I'm having fun, that I'm enjoying what I'm seeing, and that's what I got this weekend. It's been so much fun just getting back to somewhat sense of normalcy when it comes to WrestleMania, even if it was just for 2 nights and they have to go back to the format of the Thunderdome due to COVID restrictions still.
Mm-hmm.
But it's almost like the return of pro wrestling. You don't want to necessarily put WWE in a sense of WWE is pro wrestling, but man, they for them to have the huge chunk that they do, it was this WrestleMania. It's tough to have a special WrestleMania these days because of the way that the business is, as much talent that's involved, all that stuff, etc., etc. But this WrestleMania will go down as one of the most special WrestleManias because this is the first one back during the COVID era of professional wrestling and all the stuff that has gone down, and for it to go to from the Performance Center the year before to back inside the stadium with that beautiful set, elaborate themes, and just the interaction with the fans. You can tell the superstars really appreciated having the fans there, and that energy was in the building. And every eye in professional wrestling was on the WWE, and you can complain all you want, but they gave us enough that anybody could say, man, that had to be special to be a part of. So my hats off to all those who were involved, all the way down from the production assistants, the crew, all those who put their lives at risk to entertain the fans, and so they can get back to normalcy, and also help put food on the table for their families, and so on and so forth. So man, Takeover and Mania and all the stuff, and even our tour. I mean, I had a blast. It was tiring, but I was like, man, and not tiring because of what we had to do, but just the process of what it takes to get all this stuff done. Because we go through hell almost every week to really do what we really want to do, and that's the beauty of it. Because it was like, man, that if life doesn't get any better, I'm not going to sit back and waste away with it. I'm going to do what I want to do, and I'm going to have as much fun and jump into the mix. But this is the first WrestleMania in a lot since we almost got started, if not 2011 or 12, if at the latest, that where I've dived completely into WrestleMania. Like I've had a platform for me to get my thoughts out, where I can enjoy myself, talk wrestling with my buddies. Like usually it's just in a group text and on the phone with you and somebody else or other people.
Yeah.
But this is the first time, like usually these moments are the ones I'm like, I get fired up. I'm like, you doing a show? Can I come on? Or I'm tweeting a lot because I got to get my thoughts out. But this has been nothing short of it's been a blessing. I'm appreciative. I'm happy. It's been long, but man, it's just I can't think of anything better that I would like to do right now during this week at this moment. So and that's all thanks to WrestleMania. So that's what I could if I had to thank anybody, of course, the WWE and all those who are involved for giving us this week, because they didn't have to do it, but they did everything they could to prepare for this one. And we lost a lot last year. Mm-hmm. And to me, it seemed like they spent the entire year getting ready for this moment. And I think it was extremely successful. It seemed like the fans were happy with what they had, even if it's something they didn't like, just the opportunity to boo or to even voice their displeasure. They were at least there. They can say, man, I was there during the COVID era professional run. I was there at WrestleMania 37 when all that stuff went down. So
yeah,
it's been a long week.
I tell you this, they always say WrestleMania is the either the climax or the start of something new. And I like to think for the wrestling realm, for you and I, that's the start of something new, right? Well, these
Yeah,
tours,
absolutely.
as you described it,
Yeah.
just getting ready. It was 2012, season 2 of the
Yeah.
wrestling realm, when we was able to put together WrestleMania specials for the YouTube channel, which it's right there. Go to season 2. We got the channel elaborated, nice, make it easy for you to navigate. Sometimes
Can they watch that footage? Is that even watchable? Like, it's funny. I don't, is it even in HD?
It's better than a lot of stuff you see sometimes.
Oh, well, excuse me.
Hey, the thumbnails look all right, but
there you go.
It's an opportunity for people to really, that was the last time, we was able to do that. And, I'm grateful. I'm like, man, I got my road dog with me. We going from place to place, bringing that energy everywhere. Just the opportunity to talk wrestling. This is something I love doing it all the time, but and one of the things too, seeing the independents run again. I'm interested. That's what I'm interested in the next few days, catching up on some of that footage that's happened this weekend, because I had to pace myself now. I still had to cook and get the kids ready, get them all excited about watching WrestleMania. Now, my other nieces and nephews, my younger, my other set of niece and nephew, they came over yesterday, and it was just the last minute to watch it. Just to hang out with the kids, and they decided to watch it. Then it was like, hey, let's invite them over again. And my nephew, he was sitting here watching it again. So just pacing myself. So I didn't really get a chance to check out a lot of indie stuff. But goodness gracious, WWE, they not letting up, man. We got Stone Cold with Chris Jericho. I started watching that,
is that on right now?
It's been, well, so it's live. But they're promoting it as you can watch it, but it's been on since the beginning of, or prior, since 12 o'clock this afternoon, because I started. I'm an hour in.
Oh, okay.
And it's a typical podcast, Jericho and Austin. So I'm excited about catching up with that, because I don't think I've gotten to the nitty gritty of what people really want to hear. You hear some of the stuff, but we kind of heard it elsewhere. So I'm excited about that. But then, usually we get that break, man. It's usually like, all right, Raw. And then at one point it was SmackDown, then boom, a break. Or now we're going Raw, NXT, AEW, Impact, if that's your thing, and then Friday SmackDown. So this is like the start of something new, because we're running full steam ahead. This is the first week where wrestlers going to be on TV literally every day. And then if you're on the YouTube channels, there's always a promotion running on a Saturday.
Nah, yeah, no doubt. It's a great time to be a wrestling fan,
Mm-hmm.
So there's these moments after moments after moments after moments, in today's product. So it's fun to be a part of. It's fun to be. To me, this is the best time to do what we do. What I mean? Because there's no shortage of material. There's no shortage of things to talk about and stuff to dive into. And because we're as deep as we are, we can always dissect things and look at things from a different perspective. So man, I'm having a lot of fun. It's like I say, I feel like I said, this is for it to be 10-year anniversary for us to celebrate, man. We're on the right track. Like, we're just getting started. I'm like, okay, cool. This is where we want to be at. It's almost like a rebirth, and that's I really mean what I say. And I say, like, we're just getting started, because half the stuff we're able to do now we wanted to do before, but it just wasn't. It really wasn't at our grasp. But like I said, we're a resilient bunch, especially coming from where we come from. So,
bro, I always think a lot of times, like, man, why couldn't we do this when I was working in Connecticut? Like, working at ESPN, who knows? But, as a man of faith, I always say God has everything in his plan, not ours. And you trust his plan, it always works. So,
yeah, no doubt. God's timing is always impeccable.
Yeah. And so, but let's talk about a little bit about WrestleMania. Because I'm going to get into it, man. The head of the table, Roman Reigns, doing what I said he would do, and in dominant fashion, sort of. Obviously Jey Uso, but the story they told. I don't think it was a few things in that match. One of the things that stuck out was the double crossface on the Roman. And I'm sitting there like,
that was hilarious. I needed that in my life. That's to make up for all the times they pushed Roman to the Daniel Bryan back in 2014 or whatever year that was.
Yep, 2015. Yep, and so to see just them going back and forth, the double attempt of a spear, You know, maybe that was a spot. And I don't think so. I was like, maybe we was gonna get up a Goldberg and Reigns, but it wouldn't have came out right. But you know, all the guys brought it. They all had a case. They all looked like they could walk away as champion. That's something you want to see when you're going into a match. You know, we've been watching wrestling long enough, but we want to know and believe that either one of these competitors could win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, that's the thing that what I liked it when we first saw the matchup. You look at it was the Edge versus Roman Reigns, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was these two titans from two different generations kind of meeting in the ring for the first time. And when you look at the match itself, I don't know how well it would have been outside of a different story they would have had to tell to make it work. It's because they wrestled two contrasting styles.
Exactly.
You added Daniel Bryan into the mix, and it made it made even less sense, right? Because you have Daniel Bryan and Edge who probably can work a match, but the way Daniel Bryan has to work with Roman Reigns and vice versa, it didn't seem like it was going to work. But what they did was I noticed they gave us different pieces of each style of match so that each guy in the ring had a chance to kind of show what they can do and wrestle a small portion of what they're used to doing. So like Reigns and Edge probably would have been a slugfest. I don't think I would have watched the slugfest for 30 minutes between those two guys because I saw it already with him and Randy Orton last year. So then you got pieces of that, but then you had your moments where Roman was out, and then you saw Daniel Bryan and Edge go at it, and I was like, oh man, their timing is ridiculous. They've got really good chemistry in the ring, and it's like, so I appreciate it. You know, it's like going to the ice cream parlor and you know, they give you a cup and you get 3 scoops of ice cream, and I don't have to get 3 scoops of vanilla. I was able to get, if I like vanilla, I can get 1 vanilla, I can get 1 strawberry, I can get 1 chocolate. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of just 3 scoops of one thing, I was able to get different flavors. So I mean, I was happy with it. Like I enjoyed it for what it was. Like I'm a fan of 2.5 of these guys. I say half because I just started liking Roman. I'm not 100% done, you know, with my Roman hate, but I definitely like what he's doing, what he's been doing recently. It fits him so well. He's doing an excellent job. Daniel Bryan, it's good to see him in the main event, Edge main event. I mean, just to be able to sit back and enjoy it for what it was, man. I can't complain, honestly. I'm too old to complain.
Yeah, I tweeted that when Roman was clapping back at the crowd.
Yeah,
I said, man, he's been waiting to do that for 7 years.
Yeah.
And you know, I was thinking about this triple threat match, and I'm like, this is, you know, we see triple threat matches a lot, but sometimes there's always like somebody who's green. Or, you know, and you got these other two like kind of elevating them. But to me, I mean, with the exception of Triple H, Randy Orton, and John Cena, it felt like all of them were like on a higher level. Now, granted, Edge and Daniel Bryan are known ring generals. Roman's not really known as a ring general, but it was like tonight he was the head of the table, and you know, he was the guy, and they did a phenomenal job making him look great. And then Jey Uso just coming out there.
That's the X factor, man. He's doing a really, really good job.
Everybody knows somebody or has somebody in their family who's just like him. You know, that over the top cousin or that over the top person in your crew who I'm gonna get him, and they have no problem being the right hand man. And that's what I saw with him. And just the shirt fits.
I think he stole the show, to me. Not literally stole the show, but I'm like, man, to me, he was one of the highlights of that whole situation. Mm-hmm. His intensity, his energy, man, it just fits so well, and it was so believable. Like just when you think the match is kind of slowing down, and they're telling a part of the story where one guy's winning, another guy's winning, and another guy's trying to get himself together. He comes with his energy. He just disrupts that whole story. I'm like, man, if you don't understand how to put stories together, you can't appreciate those things. But you know, someone that's a content creator, someone that's a storyteller, man, I was like, man, he's making this just as enjoyable as if he was in the match himself. You know what I mean? So I mean, that's, to me, he had his WrestleMania moment. You know, he's had a couple, but for him to be in this, I'm just like, man, that's he's putting on Hall of Fame worthy like performances lately in his new role. And I mean, he's a sidekick, but it just makes so much sense because, like you said, the story, like everybody has that one cousin. You know, and especially once he realizes his place, and you know, when you add in their story and their family tradition, I'm just like, man, this is good storytelling right here. He was a big highlight of tonight's main event. Like he didn't overshadow it, he didn't take away from it. He played his part, he added to it, you know, and it was just excellent job. My hat's off to Jey Uso.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and the finish, the pin, I loved it. Roman said he was going to do it. He was going to stack him. And when he hit that moves, and when he did that, I was like, oh boy. Now is this not showing a dominating effect? Because at this point he'd have stacked two Hall of Famer, a Hall of Famer, and a soon-to-be Hall of Famer, two former world champions, multiple world champions on top of each other. This wasn't just any jobbers. He did this with two legends. It's like, what do you do with him? Who's beating him?
I think that's the fun part. I mean, the part of the WrestleMania, the ending of WrestleMania, going into that following Monday, that following Raw, and that following SmackDown is the what's next. You know what I mean? And that's the part that I enjoyed the most, because now I have to ask that question, because now you have me hooked. You could have ended a lot of these stories and it would have been okay, but everybody knows that just after WrestleMania said that's the start of a new season.
Mm-hmm.
That's the start of a new wrestling year. But now I'm like, okay, you gave me a great weekend. Now I'm also looking forward to the next day. Like, well, shoot, what's next? And they definitely like this. That's who's beating Roman. Like, where do you go? Do you build somebody else? Does he have one of these long 2-3 year reigns? You never know. Or does he? No pun intended. Reigns. Or is it going to be a returning superstar? Is it going to be? You never know. I said, like, you want something silly like Chris Jericho coming back just because. Stuff like that to happen, because I don't know what's the move now, because it's a little bit different. Yeah. The COVID stuff, so I'm not sure what they're doing as far as surprises, because usually you have that Monday, that Mania crowd after, but I don't think they're putting people in arenas yet. It's different when you're outside in the stadium versus being inside of an arena. So I'm looking forward to it. We'll see. I'm here for Monday. Like, you had me Saturday, you had me Sunday. I'm here for Monday.
Yeah, definitely here. I'm gonna go ahead and take a break, ladies and gentlemen. We got a show that I'm really excited about. We just dropped it last week. I know it's been Mania season, but guess what? Now, as you catch up, there's still black excellence in the WWE. We saw last night Bobby Lashley retain the WWE Championship. We saw Bianca Belair win the WWE Women's Championship. There's still a lot of black excellence in wrestling, but we did a show called Black Excellence in Professional Wrestling. And what I want to show, I'm going to give y'all a small preview of what you can expect from this show. Here's a preview of where we discuss the almighty Bobby Lashley. We'll be back after this.
Bobby Lashley winning, especially because they have no Monday Night Raw. I was like, well, they're not going to do this. I'm like, they're not going to let Miz. Now, mind you, this is WrestleMania season, so they're trying to throw us off the scent of what they plan to do for the big show. Yeah. Not the big show, but the big show as in WrestleMania.
The granddaddy of them all.
So I was assuming that Lashley would be involved somehow, but there's no way in the world that I thought they were actually going to pull the trigger, because it was so close to WrestleMania. The way Drew lost with the Money in the Bank briefcase, which is completely legal, was the way Miz actually got it done. Mm-hmm. So I was shocked, and I was like, wait a minute. Did he just give us another African-American WWE champion? Now, we've always seen the World Heavyweight Champion tag. And we've always been openly acknowledgeable, I made that word up, about them not being afraid to give them that title, because we saw it with Mark Henry, and we saw it with Booker T, and then you saw it with Braun the Truth Kills, R-Truth, in TNA. Mm-hmm. He was a big deal. He was a black NWA World Champion. That's something they can never take away from him. So that's something that we didn't think that wasn't beyond us, but the WWE Championship seemed like it was so sacred, because there weren't that many outside of The Rock, and it wasn't that many outside of we just recently got with Kofi Kingston. So to see Bobby Lashley get to that point after his run in WWE first, and then his independent run, and then in TNA, back to WWE, and you look at him now, as far as his career is concerned, he's now one of the most decorated black champions in all of professional wrestling.
Go to our YouTube channel, Season 5, where you can check out that show. Check it out on our YouTube, and make sure you hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so. Shout out to our new subscribers. Hope you're being entertained. Thank you for subscribing and for showing, as Steve Harvey said, showing your love to the Wrestling Wrealm. For those out there listening on the podcast platforms, I want to let you know that show is exclusively on YouTube, which you'll see on the thumbnail, created by the one, the only, the real Dwayne Allen. That's what he does. So make sure y'all check that out. Like I said, it's definitely a great episode, a great time for those who are new to the program. We have these in-depth conversations where we take a deep dive into certain subjects. And guess what? we used to do a thing called From the Realm where we had people submit requests. You know,
We did?
we could yeah, a long time ago. That's when we came up with the worst WWE champions. That episode was requested by a gentleman by the name of Deji.
Okay.
Back in the day. Yeah, season 1, man. See, this is why when we get to do that conversation,
it's all gonna come flooding back.
Yeah, especially you think about those early days in the Wrestling Wrealm group on Facebook.
Oh yeah, that was an interesting.
Yeah.
It was. Facebook was more of a thing back then.
I mean, shout out to people. Gotta give a huge shout out to our brother Carlos, one of the most active members. Shout out to Antonio Banks, 2 people who've been there since the day ones. You talking about
2 good brothers, 2 good brothers,
2 good brothers. Baltimore City College. So you know they always repping the realm, always making sure they shout us out. So I always appreciate that.
I'm in another group of Banks. We collect action figures. He's put me on a lot of good stuff. Trust me, Banks. I owe you one, buddy. You're the guy. Trust me.
Hey man, Banks be helping
Baltimore
me out
Elite Squad.
Yeah,
Banks,
nice.
Banks is on it, man. Banks is on it. Banks is the guy, yo. Like Banks is good people, good brothers. Him and Carlos.
The White Ranger Funko Pop.
Okay.
I saw it somewhere for like $100. I was like, I'm not paying that much. Banks was like, nah, I got you.
Yeah,
Yo, hit me up with a link. I got it from Walmart for like $13. Because I thought it was like discontinued.
Yeah.
He's like, nah, bro. So shout out to him.
Yeah, Banks is the guy. I say Banks is the guy. Trust me, he's made my life a lot easier when it comes to that stuff, collecting, and he's just on top of it. And you talking about hitting the pavement? That brother hits the pavement. Shout out to the Baltimore Elite Squad.
Hey, that's dope, man.
Shout my group out.
Yeah, that is dope, man. But let's talk about the opening match because the Twitterverse hated it. First of all,
why? Why?
Before we get there,
time out, bro. I will spit my gum out. They hated it.
Yeah.
Like for what? What was the issue?
They hated the finish with the Fiend and Orton. They really hated the finish.
Why did they hate it? Like I don't know.
They thought it was stupid.
Okay.
The Fiend lost. Everybody has this thing, this conspiracy theory that Bray always gets buried. The Fiend just changing and all this other stuff. Now, again, I have the privilege, and it's funny to hear somebody say this, but I have the privilege of watching wrestling with children, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing my son says is, why he got a new mask? Because he watches wrestling casually now, not as much as he did when he was younger, but he'll stop by. But WrestleMania, he's all in. Mm-hmm. No pun intended.
Oh,
so so he gets so he sees all these promos. He sees the graphic, but then when the Fiend comes out, he's got the old mask. He's like, oh yeah, he got his old mask back. I was like, oh, okay, and so that's what people hated. But before we get there, right?
What?
Yeah, they hated the fact that he lost,
dude. Okay, go ahead, finish.
But what I want to ask you,
I'm tired. I don't have time.
We gonna get into that. You had to school him. As soon as I don't know if my group chat was on a delay or what, because as soon as it came out, as soon as Randy Orton came out, I saw a gear change, and it was 2 people. I hit the group chat and I hit Britt. I said, "What do you think about this?" And I know you just said Orton WrestleMania gear, but now that I got you here, I want to know because you're a gear guy, and that will determine as people will find out.
I would not like you if I do not like your gear. I don't care what you do in the ring. I would just
That's
own
a show.
you.
That's a show.
We've been trying to put that together for a while. The whole like wrestling attire show, but okay.
Yeah, because every time I think about it, I don't write it down. So
that
I got notes, sticky notes. These are just for the rest.
It's a post-it.
Yep. But the gear.
Mm-hmm.
Your thoughts on it?
I enjoyed it. It's weird. Randy Orton he usually doesn't wear those bright colors. He usually says his black and his dark colors. But it's WrestleMania. Most he
did is like that when he was back in the day, he would do
he would do like
blue
like
or
orange
red.
and a blue. Yeah.
He had orange. White.
He came out white. I said, oh. Yeah, RQ on the back of his trunks instead of Orton. I was like, okay, he's switching it up, and it's funny because I remember his I I don't know what his wife was talking about. I don't know if it was the table for three or she was on something, but they were doing an interview and they were asking. He was talking about how aggressive his wife is and how supportive she is of his career and stuff like that. And she's very supportive of his brand. And she went to the I think Mattel was at a convention or something. They had a booth. She said, "Why is my husband not getting more action figures?" and they were saying like, well, he doesn't switch up his gear as much. It's only but so many things you can do. And she said that's when he was like, "Oh, okay, babe, you got to switch up your gear. Like you got to add." And he added smaller things like RKO to his knee pads and if WrestleMania is always a memorable gear moment. You know what I mean? Like, he may not wear that gear ever again, but that's his WrestleMania gear. It was so different from what he used to do. I was like, oh, he look good in white. I don't think it's something you should get used to, but then again, you never know. But it looked good. It was similar but different, slightly. But it was fun. I was like, oh, okay, he's coming out in white. He probably knew he was going to be wrestling in that red light, so he said, let me wear something bright so people can see me.
That's true. I was thinking he just secured his new Funko Pop. Along with, like you said, other action figures.
I expect to see a WrestleMania edition of that Randy Orton at some point. I don't know anytime soon, but because it takes that process is long, but that's a different podcast. But yeah, I enjoyed it, man. I was like, okay, that's his WrestleMania gear. It's so different. It's special. Like I said, it's a time to say, okay, this is, it's like going to a black tie fair. I don't pull out a tuxedo or a suit or red carpet event, stuff like that. So.
Side note, WrestleMania gear. You just brought me back. WrestleMania 29. Shout out to our good brother Brandon Guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll never forget this post. He posted in the Wrestling Wrealm group that year when the ladies' match got canceled. And I'm not laughing at the fact that match got canceled. We all know that was a horrible thing that happened.
That was traumatic.
Yeah, CM Punk. But when their gear, you saw the next night on Raw that the Funkadactyls and the Bellas and everybody involved in those matches, they all had new gear the next night. And I remember Brandon said, oh, that's good. They got to wear their WrestleMania gear on Raw. So that whole thought, the WrestleMania gear, that came to my mind.
I saw it later on Total Divas because that's where they talked about it the most. But that's true.
Yeah. But the match, I love the Jack in the Box. I like the Fiend coming out. At first I was like, oh man, I ain't gonna get that. I like that music. It's just I'm a music guy, so it fits him. And then he shows up, and I'm like, uh-oh, like he not playing games. But then Alexa Bliss, I mean, you've said this over and over again, and I can't do it justice. She's been a star, and just like that, she distracted the Fiend. And the first day I was like, oh, she's a woman scorned. I don't know what he did, and that's what makes it the cliffhanger from Monday Night Raw, you know. But he did something to her for her to distract him and sit there with everything, coming down her face, unless Orton played the mind games and reverse psychology, and it came back on her. But something happened, and this is why I'm excited about this story carrying on.
We talked about it on A&B, about Nothing But Sports. When we first went over the WrestleMania card and what we were talking about, and I specifically said, I said either one or two things I'm looking forward to happening. I said either they're going to wrap up this story, or just like a horror movie, we're going to get a sequel. And just when I thought they were going to wrap this up, I said, okay. And we, smart marks. We was like, okay, well, Randy Orton's got nice gear. He's got a fresh haircut. I said, yeah, he's going to be gone for he's going to lose. He's going to be on. They're going to do some type of trick or something, and then we'll see. Randy Orton's going to go away for a while, and he'll probably pop up, pick up, take some time off, go spend time with the family. And that was the easy thing to say. Man, the finish was so confusing. When you understand Bray Wyatt's thinking, and I'm not talking about the character, I'm talking about literally the performer. They said he's got one of those minds where he's not afraid to go there. Like, people think that pro wrestling storylines should be simple or they should be kind of childish or straightforward. But man, they are going into depth with this character, and they're constantly finding new ways to evolve him so he doesn't become stale. And I say that simply because of what he went through with the original Bray Wyatt character as this kind of rabid, this kind of cult leader, into that eventually evolved into something that was kind of slightly demented and kind of detached from reality. You know what I mean?
Yep.
and then to this, to where the character is now. That was kind of supposed to be reformed, but instead he's really wrestling with his own demons that has control over him, and that's where we get the Fiend. And I was like, okay, I've been a huge fan of it because it's such a different story. It takes me back to the days of the Undertaker, Kane, the Paul Bearers, those type of storylines, not just the basic devilish stuff, but just something that's like, let's do something different that makes sense, that kind of pulls me in. And now it leaves me asking another question. And I'm like, okay, cool. Well, this is clearly going to keep going because I need answers now. Mm-hmm. And that's all I could ask for at the end of the day. Like a lot of people haven't been fans of the story because they kind of want to see where it ends. I'm okay with it, man. This is to see Randy Orton at this point in his career go to the depth that he's going for a storyline. Like back in the day, Undertaker couldn't just work with Shawn Michaels and it'd be a spooky situation, right? Undertaker didn't become Undertaker until around late 98, 99.
Tell him.
Where he was working with the Ministry of Darkness. He had characters to bounce off of. You had the Acolytes, you had Kane, you had Midian, you had these other figures that you had to. And then when all that stuff ran out, he came back as the American Badass. Like, because what were you going to do after a while? You know what I'm saying? He felt like he had to do something. He wanted to be more of himself. So that way he wasn't as limited, because if he still, imagine he comes out in 2001 and still Undertaker being the evil man. Now you got to create a story. Now it's got to be singular. Like it has to make sense versus Undertaker kind of being himself. Yep. But just letting him be a wrestler. I want to be a top guy. I'm beefing with this guy for this reason. I have this gen. Like it's a broader scope of what you can do. But when you play these type of characters, you get typecast. So who else is Bray Wyatt even going to work with right now that's prepared to even go to toe-to-toe with him? Because everything he does has to have a story. Because he's playing a fictional character. He's not just Bray Wyatt, the wrestler. He's playing this fiend that's kind of demented and tortured and lives in this alternate reality. So you got to have somebody that can work with him to pull off these stories. And Randy Orton, to me, is like the only one. And to me, he's having a blast because he is relishing in this story. Like this is as much as people are enjoying the evolution of the Fiend, man, I'm seeing the evolution of Randy Orton. Like I'm watching Randy Orton go to a space that I've never seen him go to before. And I'm like, man, he is performing right now. Like he is on some graduate level Shakespearean pro wrestling type stuff. And I'm all for it because at this point we've seen Randy Orton for 30 years. You know what I mean? I'm exaggerating, but it's like he's a 14 time. Was it 14 time? Was it 15? 14 time world champion. Mm-hmm. A guy in his situation could potentially get stale where he's not going to be used right. And you're going to say, oh, Randy Orton should leave because he's not being used right. Or he's going to be the champion because he's that good. And they're going to say, oh, I'm tired of seeing Randy Orton. We got to make younger stars. Yep. So to me, I'm like, man, this guy's involved in something that means something and is so different. And he has the range. He's been doing an excellent job. Like I can't imagine Bray Wyatt working with anybody else right now outside of him and Alexa Bliss. This story has to continue.
Yeah, I want to see how far it goes. You know, I became a fan of the Young and the Restless based on a clip.
Yeah.
It was simply coming home one weekend, and I knew at 12 o'clock or 12:30 when that's on, don't talk to my mother. So I flew in from town, didn't have my car, so I couldn't go nowhere. So what I do?
Yeah, you definitely were out of town. I remember that.
Yeah, I was living. Yeah, we came in town for my sister's birthday, so I sat there and watched it with her, and then boom, somebody shows up at the door. Next week. Oh, I got to see that.
Right.
Think about all the people that watched Monday that didn't have any idea about this story, right? And they just saw the preview packages, and then they're watching on Peacock because they haven't watched wrestling in such a long time, or they're watching wrestling for the first time.
Right.
Now they're going to want to know what happens. They're going to tune to Raw tomorrow on the USA Network and say, okay, what's going on? And that's what I try to help people understand. Sometimes the tomorrow will be interesting because at the end of the day, it's the night after WrestleMania.
It's the ultimate reset button.
The ultimate. So that's why I'm excited about this. So I have no complaints.
Yeah, me neither. I enjoy that. Who cares? I'm not into the extra stuff. Oh, well, I didn't like it because like, come on, man. It's wrestling. Like, for goodness sake. Let's keep it in its proper context. It's television. Yeah,
but night two, man, it wasn't as exciting for me personally.
It definitely wasn't. I was like, okay.
It had its spots. Sure. I'm gonna put Hugh Diddy out there. He was kind of dozing off a couple of times. And I was like, man, I get it, but it had its couple spots. We did crown two new champions. Oscar dropping the title to Rhea Ripley, I thought was solid. I enjoyed the finish. You know, the match maybe was a little bit too long, but you know, overall, that's one of those matches. One thing I noticed about WrestleMania, there are some matches that when you go back and watch them independently of each of the pay-per-view, it's much better. AJ Styles and
everything TNA did.
Yeah, okay.
I lie to you not. If you go back, you be like, man, this was like I don't mean to cut you off or veer off topic.
No, go ahead.
I watch Pluto TV. That's a free app with all the free television on it, right?
Absolutely.
They got an Impact Wrestling channel, and I'll watch that, and you know they have like the best of so and so matches or the best of James Storm, and they just randomly play matches, and I'll watch stuff, and I'll be like, man, that was a really good match, but I remember the rest of the show was like, no, I'm not here for the whole show. I hate to say that. That's how I watch AEW. Like, oh yeah, the matches are like by themselves. Like, oh, this is really good. But then something involved in the show, I'm like, I'm not sticking around long enough to even to watch it, even if it was a good match. Which a lot of good content has been lost in translation on funky and long shows.
Long shows, yep. And that's what I'm saying about AJ Styles and Shinsuke at WrestleMania 34. I was watching it the other day, and I was like, at the time, I thought it was a decent match, but I saw a lot of people complaining. But, you know, we had just came off of the high of Charlotte and Asuka, Ronda Rousey and Kurt Angle against Stephanie and Triple H. So that was just such a really stacked card that, you know, we ain't young like we used to be with WrestleMania 17 and 19, where you could give us back-to-back matches. But then also, those cards wasn't, when you go back, there was only 4 hours as opposed to 5 and 6 hours. But so that's how I think about that match. Even the match with Matt Riddle and Sheamus, wasn't really excited about it, but I love the finish because Sheamus kicked the mess out of Matt Riddle.
And that was the best part of the like here's what I learned about Sheamus and Matt Riddle. I still don't like neither one of them. That's what I learned about that match. And the match wasn't bad. I'm just not a fan of neither one of those guys. It was good to see Sheamus get another United States title run. It's a run that he deserves. To see Matt Riddle go toe to toe with him was like, oh, that's impressive, because I know Sheamus is hard hitting, and I know Riddle's it seems like he's on this kind of place in his career. He's got to prove himself, and he's taking a lot of sharp hits to the face just to prove like, yeah, y'all not going to get me out of here by working stiff in the ring. But the finish was great. That's what we'll remember. That's the highlight that we'll see for night 2 for that match, at which, you know, it was good. I'm like, yeah, after all this, I'm still not feeling neither one of these guys.
Yeah, definitely not. No need to spend much longer on that one.
No, sir.
Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn,
match of the freaking night.
Lived up to the expectations, out shot of a doubt, man.
Yes, indeed, man. It was. Once again, the storytelling. Like, nobody thought Sami Zayn would be this as in depth as he is as far as a character, because Sami Zayn was the guy.
Heck no.
Sami Zayn for the longest time was the match guy. He was the guy that could go out there and put on a good match. He could work. Nobody would have ever thought that he could develop himself into this kind of characterless character on TV. You know, this conspiracy theorist that's working for him. He does so well. He's so entertaining, and then there's nothing he can't do in the ring. You know what I mean? So I mean, my hat's off to and Kevin Owens finally had a dance partner that they've been working, 15 years. So they get each other. So they, of course, they're working stiff. They were doing things with each other that you don't see them do with everybody else, but because we've done this 1,000 times, and they trust each other. It's like, ooh, they that's what I said. They taking the cuffs off him, on this one. Kevin Owens looked great in this match, man. He looked like Kevin Owens. That's my biggest thing. His match with Jericho is my biggest complaint. Excuse me. He didn't look like Kevin Owens. Yeah, he looked like he was trying to be something that he wasn't. But this match, I'm like, that's who Kevin Owens is. That's what he's known for. Man, it made him look strong. It made Sami's character look strong, which is why I said it's not about wins and losses, man. It's just like it only adds to who Sami Zayn really is as a character. And I was like, man, I was so happy. I said, man, it's good to see Kevin Owens in a spotlight match. That it just wasn't just a fill time. It wasn't just a work rate match. Like, no, they gave these guys a chance to tell the story, and then how it ended. Even with the stunner to Logan Paul, and Logan Paul sold it like a boss, and it made Kevin Owens look really strong. And I was like, man, that's how he needs to look every time he's on TV. So I had fun. I enjoyed it. That was my favorite match of the night.
You and I are big documentary guys. This is one I can't wait to see the day of.
I need to see it, and that's exactly what I'm thinking. Day of and 24th. I said I need to see all this WrestleMania 37 stuff.
Yeah, you know, you could if you give me a 3-hour one. I know it won't be, but I would watch it because I'm like so excited to hear because I know they all gonna go in depth. You know how a few months ago they gave us the Game 6 of the Bulls Jazz '98 remastered.
Yeah,
and they gave it like
I remember that. Yep,
I would love like a remastered WrestleMania 37 from like the backstage point of view and all this stuff, just to see, because considering this is the first show, you could see like when a lot of, especially Kevin Owens, he comes out there, that interest is, you know, you saw like the energy hit him,
man.
Like, yo, these people are back. You know,
Edge had the craziest one. You see Edge, as soon as he went out there, he didn't even waste any time. He lost it. Because it's not, because he like the current guys or the you know, the active roster members have been waiting for that for about a year. Edge has been waiting for that since really his Royal Rumble debut. Because it wasn't too much after that he got to have that moment because COVID hit not too long after that. You know what I mean? And then he was out, you know, with the with his, I guess he tore his pec off his shoulder or something.
Something like that.
You know, it was so you know, he came back. I knew it. I was like, hey, Daniel Brown's another one. Even who else was Randy Orton? Like, you saw Randy Orton breathing heavy when he walked in. Like, oh yeah, I'm feeling this one. He cracked the joke, pretending not to slide. But yeah, man, that yeah, that Kevin Owens, man, you can tell he's, you know, that's his world right there. That the fans, they make Kevin Owens who he is. You know, he's been holding his own for a while now. But I was happy, man. I was guys like him, Cesaro, Zayn. I mean, those guys were in featured WrestleMania spots. Apollo. I'm talking all workhorses, though. I just named all workhorses.
Yep.
They proved and they worked at being entertaining. Like, they proved they can do both. And those are 4 guys that everybody said weren't going to be able to make the adjustment. It didn't matter how long it took them. They're making the adjustment. They had featured spots historically in one of the most exciting WrestleManias of all time due to the COVID era. So, yeah.
Oh, man. I tell you. The Nigerian drum match. Was this what you was hoping for? I kind of wanted to see a little bit more theatrics with Apollo's entrance.
I did. That's what I was waiting for. I was hoping that he was going to be lined up, you know, with all, you know, Nigerian drummers, and they were going to do something like a drum entrance at least. Yeah. You know, it's just something just to kind of signify royalty. But you don't want to do that because you pay Wale all that money. And you don't want that interest to be outshined. So from a business perspective, I get that. You know what I mean? And then hindsight being 2020, being a Monday morning quarterback, once you see the finish, you're like, oh, okay, well, that's why they didn't want to make a big deal about it. But man, he looks like $1 million. He has an action figure coming out that no one's going to even get now because it's in trunks when he was last year when he won the United States Championship, you know, fooling around with the Hurt Business. But I'm like, bro, I need that Nigerian. That he looks like his gear reminded me of how Tanahashi's gear has looked in New Japan. Dude looks like $1 million, but I said, man, he's finally got the look. He's finally embracing those colors, you know, as far as his Nigerian heritage, man. And then the finish itself, I was like, okay, man, now we cooking with grease. You know, you respect guys like him and Cesaro, man. Like those, they didn't leave, they didn't complain. Like they figured it out, man. Like this, and there's nothing wrong with leaving and finding yourself and coming back. Andrade, it's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes it takes that, you know what I mean? Christian, it takes that sometimes. But for those guys, man, to say now, like for years, those are 2 guys that everybody thought like, oh, they should be put in better situations because of how good they are, and they just didn't figure it out. And last year was the first time we really saw Apollo doing anything of meaning when he started beefing with the Hurt Business. And I'm like, man, shout out to MVP for getting that man involved. And he became United States champion. You know, he was a 2-time. Well, was it 2-time United States champion? I don't remember. Was that his first United States championship?
I feel like it was
2 times because he had the regular. No, MVP stole it. He stole. Remember they came out with the new title. Yeah, that's what it was. And now I want to see what he does. And then his new bouncer. I'm like, man, he's already better than almost. Just everything he did was that's what you're supposed to do. I was excited, man.
Yeah, he sold the moment, and I was sitting there. You always look for these shocks, these double turns, or these, you know, celebrity involvements. You kind of got a lot of that with night 2. You know, you mentioned Logan Paul taking the stunner. That's, you know, that's your Pete Rose moment, if you want to call it that.
There you go. Yep.
You know, with what's that guy's name? I was about to call him T-Bar. And I don't even know if he was the right one. But this guy coming in, that was the big shock because you didn't know you didn't expect this, and it was done in a way where Big E
didn't he just sign with WWE though? That guy,
I feel like
I remember seeing. I could swear I remember seeing him with the Performance Center shirt on when they not too long ago with the new recruits. I could be wrong.
Maybe they be having so many at once.
I'm like, where did he find these 7-footers?
Yeah,
because and they got another 7-footer down there. The dude Zach, once again, another big 7-foot guy. He was at Morgan too. He was at, I want to say, Cal State Bakersfield, and he was at Morgan for a cup of coffee.
Oh wow!
He signed with the WWE not too long after Big Omos did.
So you think if we go down, just hang out around the Performance Center, you'll get signed?
If they let us in, I'm gonna wear a super small T-shirt and act like I'm kind of big around the shoulders. But I might gotta put the weight back on. Like I dropped the weight, I might have to put it back on just to look.
I mean, they can see potential. See, you come in there with charisma. Vince will tell you, "Hey, all right, look, this one." I mean, somebody we don't name, but he was the skinniest person, and he put on weight. So
I don't know what the heck you're talking about, but I guess.
We believe his name at the beginning of the Black Excellence show, but you could probably. Yeah. I made sure I hit the bleep button on that one. But yeah, maybe we get you an opportunity. I'll be your special counsel.
That's what you've been trying to do since we got started. Like, oh yeah, you can wrestle and I'll be the manager. That's just call a spade a spade.
Hey man, Virgil saw potential in you, brother.
You keep saying Virgil like that's not your guy. You met him at East Point Mall. You helped him fix his $1 million belt. Yeah. And you helped him take his stuff to the car.
I ain't taking stuff to the car.
You helped him take his stuff to the car. I
just stayed out of the way so he could try to make money.
It was nobody at that show though.
Hey, shout out to Dr. D. That's where we met Dr. D and Corey.
Was that same night that we met them? That was the first night we met them?
That was the first night we met them.
Okay. Yeah.
I remember I had the picture. Doc gave me the photo, and then I went home. Oh, there he is. Cool. We added Doc and been brothers ever since. Shout out to him.
Yeah. Well, that's the one guy we haven't had a chance to really catch up with. I wish we could have had him on tonight. That'd have been dope. But I know we've been all over the place with as far as this media tour. So
oh yeah, we definitely gonna get Doc on a show or two.
Yeah. Are you gonna get Virgil? I know you guys are probably still in touch.
Virgil charge people, man.
His price is probably going to go up because he's like, well, I'm a Hall of Famer now because I'm an NWO. So since the NWO is in the Hall of Fame now, so I think autograph site he's going to start wearing NWO shirts with like WWE Hall of Fame NWO stuff on it. Like, well, I was with NWO. You know me, I was Vincent. So and he was on the B Squad. He was on with a different music.
Oh yeah,
his prices are probably going to go up from now on.
Yeah, he's probably on Cameo.
Why don't you hit him up and ask him see if you got let me see what's coming up so he can do like a birthday or something. But you know him personally, so it doesn't matter. You guys were guys. East Point Mall.
Hey man, hey, that was the first wrestler I ever met, first autograph I got.
See, there this is coming out now.
Hey, I thought it was a big deal. You're 18. You know, my mom was like, "Look, we'll order pay-per-views. We ain't take you to the shows though." So I saw East Point Mall. I marked out, and then afterwards, I was like, I saw him again at East Point. And I was like, I saw him again. I was like, wait, did he live around here?
Man, my mother wasn't even doing that. You're blessed because $30. You're like, no, I'm not paying for that. You didn't take the trash out last week. You're like, why do you remember that?
Wait, no, she ain't pay for nothing. I ain't pay for the autograph or nothing.
I'm talking about the pay-per-views. You saw
yeah,
we'll buy the pay-per-views, but we're not going to the shows. Man, please. You're like, you'd be lucky if you can go over somebody's house that like Toronto got a pay-per-view. Hey, you ain't going over there. You're like,
bro, my father hated. My father hated. He hated crowds so much. Right? No Mercy, 2003. We was down there in line, man, and it was like, well, we don't have a set of tickets together, so I'm trying to see if I can find like one row over here, one row. I was like, can you find something? He was like, nah. He said, well, look, I can't. I ain't spending $800, and then the cheap seats, they ain't got no seats together. So hold on. So he calls Uncle Mike. My aunt answered for Uncle Mike was asleep. Rest in peace, Uncle Mike. And they was like, yeah, we getting the pay-per-view tonight. Yeah, man. I miss him every day. They was like, yeah, we getting the pay-per-view tonight. All right, cool. So we go out there and watch it. I was like, all right, it was cool. I was happy. I was grateful.
If you couldn't go,
I thought that was gonna be my first wrestling show. So shout out to my Uncle Troy. He took me to the first show, Raw, November 30th, 2004. But man, I just knew it.
Man, the only person's house I could go to watch wrestling was my cousin, my godbrother, my godfather. If they ordered it, it was, oh yeah, sure, you can go. Like my Uncle Joe and them order. Oh yeah, I don't care, because that's they grew up together, so that was no issue, man. And he was a hotel general manager. That's false for a goddamn minute. He was
the wrestling stories. I love these.
Bro, he was a hotel general manager for like 20-something years. He might still do it. I don't even know. Right. He used to brag about, oh yeah, we used to get tickets. They would come to the hotel and they would just give us tickets. Like for the surrounding hotel general managers, they got gifts all the time. People would always give them gifts like tickets or iPods, whoever it was that came into town.
Oh wow,
man. Every time he'd be like, oh, matter of fact, y'all can come with us because last time they gave us tickets, we went down there, we met so and so, and I'm sitting there listening to this story like, dang, next time we gonna go? Oh yeah, next time we gonna call you. Next go round. Oh yeah, y'all just missed it. We just went through. I said, come on, Uncle Joe. That's the third, fourth time y'all done went down there. Y'all keep forgetting to call us or something. All you can just call my mother and just tell her what it did was she was gonna let me get. Nope. I said they didn't went to 5, 6, 7, 8 wrestling shows in the area. I don't even know I don't know if there was house shows. I don't know if there was Raws, pay-per-views, nothing. Who knows? All I know is they kept getting tickets and kept going. He kept on saying, next time we gotta let y'all know. Man, before you know, my cousin stopped watching wrestling. I was like, you killing me, bro. You were killing me.
Man, yo.
Like you killing me.
It's Sir Ronson. Damn.
Yeah, I didn't start going to wrestling shows till I was grown.
See, if they had camera phones, that's all you would have had to do, yo.
I've been extremely quiet on purpose. Have you noticed? Like I gotta let you do your whole intro. I didn't say a word. I just sat there.
You've been quiet for about a whole year. Too.
I just stared at the camera with this look on my face of determination and grit and.
That's all.
that's exactly what it is. I've been extremely quiet about this. That's exactly how I feel. It doesn't get no better than that. Like, that's exactly how I freaking feel. Like, yo, I've been really quiet about this. I'm gonna let you say what you got to say. Just staring waiting to go to the wrestling show when I was a kid, just gazing like, when is he finally gonna take me to the wrestling show? But
oh man.
See, this is why the show runs over. Like, take at the time.
Hey, yeah, we finished talking about WrestleMania.
Yeah, like that's just
we talked about night one,
especially night two.
Yeah.
You called it though. Everybody kept saying, "Man, look, night two is like, oh, it's stacked, man." I don't know, man. Night one was just, it was special. It was different, man.
It was. You go in black, you leave out black. How better than black do you get?
That was the beauty. Like I was like, man, that's right. Trusting the brothers and the sisters to carry the show, start the show, end the show. And everything in between was a beauty. So
yeah, it's like it's about time. You look at an Oreo cookie.
All right, bro. I'll see you next week, man.
There's a reason why it's the best cookie on the planet.
Wow. I don't know if it's because it's late, but you learn something new every day, buddy. I tell you.
I swear, I usually don't come up with stuff like that. I don't even know how that happened.
You're on fire right now, man. It's because you all this WrestleMania media tour you went on this week, man. You hitting all cylinders.
Cause yo, you Floyd Mayweather, you Pacquiao me with Floyd Mayweather, yo. You hit me in the mouth last week. You said, "Bring it." I had no choice.
Yeah, that joke.
I broke down the fourth wall,
bro. I looked at the shows like, man, this ain't cutting it, man. Something ain't clicking. Something ain't clicking. We gotta figure this out. But I think WrestleMania was that adrenaline shot that we needed, though. So it's been.
Yeah, I mean, we came on after a boring Raw, and because we're not two people that go on 100 and complain about it.
That is not what the show is about. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Like, we're too old for that. Sorry.
Yeah, look,
they did not pay me to complain that much.
This what you do. You come to the Wrestling Wrealm, you get some cookies, you get some Lifesaver gummy bears, and you have a good time. You hop in the comments, you tell us what you think about us, and you hit subscribe to all our channels, and you tweet at us and let us have fun. Look, like we said, we too grown. wrestling is
I was
recreation.
like, yeah, that's exactly what it is, bro. Like I'm like, man, man, you see stuff and be like, yo, what are y'all talking about? Like, you know, this is television we watching. Like, what is like? Nobody watches Friends and be like, oh, that episode wasn't feeling it, man. That producer needs to figure it out because that's not Joey's character.
Yo,
I don't know why I said Friends, but
they do that with Power though, bro. That's the one TV show. I was like, y'all sound like wrestling fans. Everybody can book better and write better. Have y'all ever sat down in a creative room? You know, I'm like,
look,
sheesh.
that's beyond my pay grade. I just watch the stuff for what it is. That I like to talk about it, and we dive deep. If you don't understand it, we can help you understand it or look at it.
Yeah.
All that other stuff. I was like, man, if you don't like something, just say you don't like it. Like people like, oh, it didn't make like I was, this is wrestling fans are funny.
And talk about stuff that they're not going to do. Like they gonna sit back and they gonna go to Vince McMahon's office themselves and they gonna tell him about himself, or they gonna write a letter. Insert Triple H promo because he was waiting for a long time to get that one off. He got the creative. Vince said, "Fine, go ahead and say it, Trip. So go ahead and say it, Hunter.
Just go ahead and say it." Man,
I'm gonna go. You can see, like, you can really see, like, you ever notice, like, when you get real mad and your body like start boiling, and you know, I mean, you coach basketball. I'm pretty sure it's happened.
Yeah.
So that's happened. Like, you know, you can see that with Triple H, like that something hit him, and you can see him tensing up, like he was like, and I'm gonna go out there and let me see, I'm gonna get a Twitter or I'm gonna go on Instagram.
Oh yeah,
people don't even go on Instagram to write like that. Triple H. Instagram stories wasn't a thing. They just make pictures.
Bro, I was watching the joint earlier. He was on there with on Brit Show on My Wrestling Opinion. And she starts reading. That's the worst part about the show. I hate is when she reads the comments. And they all talk about night when everyone's like, "Oh, Charlotte should have they shouldn't have had this match on the card. Charlotte should have did so." I said, "Well, so, bruh, what do you mean they should have did it? Who gives a crap? Like you complain about night one." I'm like, oh yeah, you don't need to watch wrestling no more. It's not that serious.
Shout out to Britt. She goes out there, somebody chops in, they started talking about something else. She clearly gave them, look, this is what we talking about. And she just in the nicest way. Okay, so thank you. Thanks for coming on.
She's a pro. That
she's a pro radio. That's what you really see.
That joint is cringy. When she started bringing it, when she's like, all right, we're gonna bring in the fence. I'm like,
it's rolling the dice.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, shout out to A Dazzle, Black Wrestling Alliance. Finally get chop it up with him again. It's been a while, but man, but yeah, it was fun though. It was fun being on there today. I was shout out to Sock Monkey Mike. He had an idea about what if it was Bray. It wasn't Bray Wyatt that was the feed.
Yeah, it was Bo Dallas.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, and then it's funny because Hugh, who didn't even watch the show yet, said the same thing. He was like, yo,
he has been dropping weight though. He did look slimmer, didn't he?
Wait, yeah. And I guess I wasn't like paying that much attention.
Yeah.
He said, yo, what if that's Bo Dallas? And I was like, yo, dude just said the same thing. That was like, oh man, that would have been tight though.
I did want to see some type of swerve or some type of something, but if it didn't happen, then I'm not gonna be like, they didn't like it. Wrestling fans, like, dude, y'all are killing us, man. Like, this is why people. This is my favorite line. I say this all the time. This is why people make fun of us because they all want to be out there. Oh, didn't make any sense. What? He had to get booked that way. They should have brought out, like, brother, you need to write a book. Or go book your wrestling show.
Could you imagine Macho Man was around during the social media era, like really heavy in the social media era, and he could have been expressing promos and getting on wrestling fans like that?
No, man, like wrestling fans. This is what wrestling fans do. Wrestling fans would be like, "Oh, it would have been better if Kevin Owens wrestled a dinosaur, and then a dinosaur came out, and then Kevin Owens. That would have been booked better because this would have got the ratings." Like this is how I feel about you wrestling fans. This is how y'all sound when y'all talk about booking wrestling stuff. This is I don't know. I don't know. This is what it's like. What? Who cares if you don't like it? Just say I didn't like it. I would have. It's nothing, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's the beauty of it. But to sit there and say what they should have done, it worked. Like I don't know.
That's why I take time. I don't even look in a lot of the group chats that I'm in. And I just like last night, nothing was going to blow my high. When I sat there and watched my daughter celebrate, it was like, goodness gracious, it don't get no better than this. So I was like, people go complain, which nobody really had any complaints, but
Right.
you know, everybody's like, okay, but what if this? And I'm like, I'm not even thinking about, okay, what's next? Or, you know, sometimes like, you know, when Daniel Bryan won it, I didn't want to think about, okay, he's going to lose to Lesnar in 6 months or something like that. I just wanted to like really relish in that moment, you know? It's like when Michael Jordan would win his championship and he sat on the floor and just relaxed. And, you know, the one picture where him and his dad, they just hugged. You just want to just like, the journey took so long. So
man, I'm a party pooper. I'll be the first one in them situations. They be like, it should have been this, it should have been that. And I'm like, dude, excuse me. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. That's not even that serious to me. That's not even that serious to me, bro. I don't even know what you're talking about.
And like, you know, the 2 WrestleManias I went to, I was around Corey and Glenn after both shows. And what's the
second Mania you went to? Because you went to 2. You
yeah,
went
33.
to 28 and 33. Is that correct?
Yep.
What was 33?
Roman Taker in Orlando.
In Orlando. That's what it was.
Yeah.
I'm like, what Disney World?
Yeah, Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton. You know, Naomi wins the championship. Hardy Boys return. But you know that what made that trip so great.
Wait. You went to that?
Yeah.
You would have? Oh snap! What the heck? I forgot.
Yeah, because I remember calling you the next day, and that's when you told me what happened. How'd you
listen to me to this freaking day? I was at the stinking what's that place called? It's a spot around my way.
You was at soccer field, right?
I was at Lombardi's.
Okay.
No, I'm not the one you called me that because I remember when the Jeff Hardy stuff. I was at Lombardi's. I literally left the house because my mother was like, "Well, look, you might as well you want to order something to eat, you know, usually she do that on the weekend sometimes if, you know, she don't feel like cooking or whatever the case may be. And I'm at her house and she's like, you know, she ordered the food and I've right up the street and go pick it up. And Mania was on. And I was like, okay, well, I'll watch it from my phone, from the network.
Yeah.
I'll go up the street and just bring it back. And I was literally at Lombardi's. Like to this day, it's vivid to me. As I gaze into the camera, it's vivid to me. I get the food. I look at my phone and that joint says, congratulations, the Hardys return. I was like, "Ow, come on!" Like I forgot you even at that Mania. That was after the Hardys tour. There was what they call it.
They had just wrestled at
the night before Ring of Honor, the Young Bucks,
and I think they had a party that day. There was like this big WrestleMania Hardy Boys party on one of the streets down there, and on the way to Mania. CBS tweeted, it was either on the way to Mania or sometime that Saturday. CBS tweeted, Jeff Hardy says that the Hardy Boys just signed a deal with Ring of Honor. Yeah. And they threw us for a loop. And when the Hardys came out, when the New Day came out and they said, what could it be? Yeah, some people yelling, delete, because, you know, people was hoping. So then when it happened, the whole stadium lost it, man.
Yeah.
And you know, but that night, you know, like I said, you know, that week it was great. I was staying with Glenn and Corey. But, you know, and like I said, when you talk about organized, like these brothers put on organized WrestleMania, you know, and one of the things that, you know, it was just those conversations that you and I would have afterwards, you know, and that's how I knew we was going to have a good time on the Wrestling March to Excellence because it wasn't going to be a whole bunch of whining and complaining. It was just going to be fans talking wrestling in a professional way.
Analyzing it, breaking it down, doing what we do best, man.
Yeah. So next year, Dallas is going to be fun. You know, we're going to be in there. I'm claiming it.
You've been claiming it for like the last 10 years, brother. You were like, oh man, next year's going to be a year. I'm like, yeah, you're right, brother. It's just like this. Hey, all right. What, are you on a post show or not?
We're going to be in there. Look, I already got my wife. So they made the announcement the night the Ravens played the Bills, right? Where the WrestleManias would be like, it like interrupted the NBC broadcast.
I remember
and so I'm looking at her. She's like, "Oh, so you're going to Dallas next year? Oh, they're going to Hollywood. They're going." I said, "Okay, you know, like I said, I just make sure it's not near March 28th. You feel me?"
Oh yeah, that's you always make sure it's not by March 28th.
Yeah, you know, it was the 28th, 29th. I'm out. The 30th, might get squeezed down there. You know, but yeah, since it's in April, I'm in the building. Like I said, you know,
you always you're like, "Come on, April, let it be April."
Yep, God willing, we're gonna all be down there, and it's gonna be a good time. And if we want, we create some content. If not, we won't. But
I travel with my setup. I don't know how the flight stuff's gonna look eventually, but I got a mobile studio.
Hey man, look, the way they do stuff now, shoot, I got this microphone. Well, I'll have probably a different laptop. We'll see. But yeah, we gonna make it happen.
Weren't you at Mania walking around with a microphone in your hand before interviewing people on the street?
No, so 28.
That wasn't you at 28.
No, it was with the yacht. I almost said it. It was with the HD camera.
Everybody, this is primetime, Brian, Mr. Main Event, primetime B-Dub here interviewing people at WrestleMania. What do you think about the event?
No, but it was before the show. Shout out to Hugh. So WrestleMania 28 was where Hazmat Photos was born. Because when I tell you, this brother, man, was captured everything from access,
I remember that.
Being on the streets, man. And I was like, yo, like, you want me to take the camera and get some pictures of you? He's like, nah, bro, stay right there. Boom, boom. I was like, he's like, man, okay. But yeah, so we was interviewing people, and that's when we did the pre-show, and that's where you called something. Well, we'll tell y'all when we get into the long sit down conversation.
We're gonna tell all our freaking business. And I'm Captain Private. Oh boy, this is gonna be funny.
It's gonna be fun. But like I said, you called something that night 2 weeks prior and everything. And I remember texting you like, dog, well, you said it. You was like, what? I said, you said it.
Oh yeah, I didn't know what to use. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm thinking, you hit my phone. I'm thinking, yo, he ready to give me a WrestleMania story. He ready to give me, that was not the story I was expecting to hear. I said, this is not what I thought I was going to be talking about this time. But
and it's funny because that was around the time when I met Dre coming back, but before that, I kept hearing, and it's funny because out of all the people, he's the person I'm closest to now. But everybody kept telling me about, yeah, I'm going to WrestleMania with Dre. I'm like, who's Dre? And then one day we was doing like one of the classes doing like the tour around WEAA, and I see him with the CM Punk shirt on, and I had a wrestler shirt on, and Dre get that grin going.
Yeah. As soon as you said it, I was like, yo, I saw it in my head. Like, yo, oh, here you go.
And you know how wrestling fans do? They give you the nod, like, yeah, that's my guy right there. And I was like, yo, what's up? And so then it clicked. I was like, oh, so that must be the Dre. Because shout out to Brian Gibson, good brother, doing a lot of acting. He was in a recent movie. He the one told me. He said, yeah, I gave Dre my money, man. So I'm going to be down there.
Yeah, fam. It's a WrestleMania shit, fam. I'm in there, fam. I'm going to WrestleMania. Yeah.
Yep. So that's what happened. So it was like all of that was going on, man.
Now, I don't mean to cut you off, but their WrestleMania story should be turned into a freaking movie.
It should be. Well, they got footage.
I wish they definitely got. We need to call Omar. We need to do.
Omar already backed up on some movies, bro.
Yo, oh man, what? I'm not gonna get into that, but I got to talk to Trey about that because they're like 10 years behind on this one movie they're supposed to be working on.
Yep.
We were in the lab, the studio lab. I was so locked in, me. I'm so focused all the time. I didn't have any fun back then. They were telling a story about their Mania trip compared to your Mania, compared to your story. And I'm kicking myself in the tail. And I said, man, if I had just heard half of what they said, I'd be writing a screenplay right now. Like, yo, I'm a pitch this to WWE Studios. This has got to be a thing. I said, because I know it's got to be this. I'm not saying it because somebody will steal my idea. We'll talk about it after I get. But that story there, I said, man, that sounds like a dang on movie. And I was like, yo, you add that with some other elements to it, man. I was like, man, I think I might be on something.
Yeah.
I had two unexpected WrestleMania trip stories, and I was like, you guys are killing me. Corey, the only one Corey and G-Lo, the only ones that got civilized WrestleMania stories.
Oh, WrestleMania 33.
Oh, yes.
They had the sequel to my 28.
You passed that on to them. That's your fault. That was
bro. I never seen Corey say have like a look that wasn't a smile, that wasn't being a stern look on purpose. Like I was like, yo, I ain't never seen Corey get that way.
Yo, the wizard,
that's the nicest brother that
he is
you
always even keeled all the
Yep.
time. Like he's never rattled. Anything about that brother, that brother is never rattled. And when I heard that, I said, oh, it must have been bad. I was like, see, that's why. Listen, that's why I wasn't supposed to go on none of those trips, because somebody ruined my WrestleMania trip, boy. Oh no, I'd have been no good. I'd have been good and hot.
See, that's
I've gotten more mad at less.
Yeah, the 33 was easy because I knew, okay, separate, boom, boom, boom. Yeah, that ain't gonna happen. Nope, you stay over there. Over there.
We got to get Dre on the show first and foremost. That's what is he at Jimmy's tonight?
Man, obviously he's in the group chat. Wait, Dre, where you at?
Sometimes Dre's I don't know if he's with them or not. I know D and Uncle Raj go. they not gonna miss no Jimmy's.
I know. I'm just trying to send him the link right now.
Bro, he should have been. Yo, CJ can come in real quick.
Y'all come in.
Yo, CJ can come in real quick. No, because they supposed to be on Clubhouse right now, aren't they?
I ain't get no notification. Hold on, real quick.
Because I need to hear this WrestleMania story. Like we should have did a show about WrestleMania stories. Because he was with them, wasn't he?
I don't know, man.
Trey did go with them, did he? No, he did.
They in the clubhouse. I can tell you that.
All right, well, I'm not. All right, don't bother them now. Just let them finish up their post show.
The Jimmy Snake. Yeah, buddy.
Yo, Dre went with them, didn't he? Dre, Omar, Brian Gibson, and the other brother.
When the WrestleMania
28.
Yeah, that's like I said. That's how I met Dre. I mean, I met him afterwards. I was supposed to meet them down there, but they got there late.
That's even better because we can call Dre like Dre. We need the WrestleMania story from WrestleMania 28. When
somebody had to buy a belt, yo, and that's what they got footage when they was at that mall. And Hugh can tell you that mall was expensive.
Yeah, I remember. I kept talking about that,
bro. I remember we was on South Beach Friday night, and for some reason, I think I had left my belt, and so I had to like roll my pants or shorts or whatever.
Right.
And that's where I was like, yo, Hugh, I gotta go here. I said, I go there, it's like one of these stores on the beach. I said, hey, y'all got any belts? Yeah. I was like, how much? $100. I was like, thank you. I'm going back outside. Right.
Like, can you pull me to the nearest Walmart or Target, please?
Exactly. Yeah, we had people up there trying to leave access early because they put on the wrong shoes.
Bro. No. No.
That's exactly was my reaction. Can we leave? These belts are getting heavy.
Bro, leave access. Leave what?
And and Hugh, another even killed brother goes, just simply shakes his head like, I'm trying not to curse. I was saying,
yeah, I guess. I'm being very selective about what I say as well.
And I'm sitting there like, yo, but hey, man, the memories of WrestleMania in general shall always live forever. That's
the best part about it. We got to get Dre on the show. Like Dre, we need answers right now.
We
owe Dre. We owe Dre a lot.
We had fun at WEAA Mania. Me and Glenn, that was fun. Shout out to Faye Jackson, who was in VIP, comes down like, hey, what's going on? We was texting throughout the show. She was like, yeah, well, when you get here, she said, I'm going to introduce you to Noel Foley. But by the time we got there, she was gone. I was waiting for Glenn. What happened with that one, I was waiting for Glenn. But I was also hanging with Blake and Leva Bates at Blue Meanie's party. Okay. And, bro, it wasn't nobody in there, bro.
The Blue party.
Yeah, like, I mean, you know how it is. You worked in, like, clubs and stuff when there's a hot party around the corner and everybody's over there.
Yeah, you never want to be on a block with a promoter, certain type of promoter promoting his party opposite to somebody that's like this promoter. Because what I learned when I was a bouncer is people follow promoters.
Oh,
okay. So that's why like certain audiences always end up together on the same night. Like, oh yeah, so and so is gonna be here on every third Friday or every fourth Friday, or then so every fifth Friday they're gonna be at another spot. So like they kind of follow the promoter because they same crowd, same DJ. and usually if your friends or your people you like to hang with or music, whatever music you like to listen to, they usually follow the promoter. So you always knew you always knew who was promoting that night based off the crowd that came. You're like, oh yeah, so-and-so must be promoting tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, trust me, but if you catch a good one though, you be like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, that man, oh man. Shout out to Faye Jackson. Gary called it a career.
So yeah, she's retiring.
Appreciate the work she's done. I know you had a chance to meet her when you was with the Flex Zone, I believe, right?
Yeah, that was our last Ring of Honor trip. When that was the last one I went to without Blizz.
Got you.
Yeah, Doc put us on. Doc, you should have seen it. When she hugged Doc, yeah, he kept saying, man. So it was Deanna Peraza she was working at night and everybody was going gaga over her. And Doc comes over like, no, fellas, you don't understand. There's another young lady here. She's a game changer. We're like, what are you talking about? He's like, her name is Faye Jackson. Like, trust me, you're gonna know when you see her. And we're like, okay, sure, Faye Jackson, that's, man, she comes out. We're like, oh, okay, wow, got you. Okay. So then Doc's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna catch up with her after the show. We're like, Doc might pull this off because first of all, when Doc walked in there by this time, when they moved the shows from Du Burns to this, he was a king. Yeah. Every media person knew he comes in late. Doc that ain't come on, he comes in late, strolling in there.
Yo, that's how he was at the Ring of Honor anniversary show the last time I seen him.
He made his rounds. He talked to people. And he tell us who to look out for. Like Doc always put us on good information. So she comes out, and now we see her going back and forth. She's done her match. She's going back and forth, and D and them like, oh nah, we got to meet her. Like nah, that's crazy. We're like, well, Doc said it's hanging right afterwards. He claims he's gonna. She comes out at the end of the show. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if she's talking to. I think Dre said, "Oh yeah, I spoke to her before." I said, "You lying? You did not talk to her." It's like, "Oh no, yeah, I gave her my business card. I told her what I was doing, flex on the sports stuff like that." So we tripping, just like, all right, yo. So she comes over there. So we like, oh, she walks up, and we're like, oh hey, it's Faye. We like, oh my God, it's just Faye Jackson. So then D gets to flirting. Yeah, that's right. I'm putting D on blast. D sucks. D spitting game, right? He said something about listen, D said something about. I was like, I didn't know he had that in his bag. So she's just laughing and stuff like that. We like, so they're like, we flex on guys, and I don't know how we got special treatment that night. I don't know how. I look. All I know is our names got put on the list somehow. I'm not sure who put them on the list. I think Blake didn't come to the show, but he reached out to them and he put us on it because Hugh came later. Hugh Diddy was there.
Okay. Oh, Hugh
matter
was
of fact,
there too.
Hugh Diddy was there the night we met Faye Jackson.
He was there the night they met Faye Jackson
at Ring of Honor.
He gave that Hugh smile. Yep.
So we're talking to her, right? They flex on it up. Flex on. We're still on Fox. This day was still on Fox 1340 at the time. The contract had run out, and so Doc comes out of nowhere, and he goes, Faye. She goes, oh my gosh. She grabs Doc and gives him this big hug. We looking at him like, golly, he wasn't lying about it. So they talking to chop it up. He's telling her like, look, you know how Doc is. Doc's like, let me tell you something. You on the right path. You an excellent performance. What you have done. And he starts breaking down. And mind you, you think Doc's not paying attention, but Doc's didn't watch everything she did in the ring. So she gets so excited about the fact that Doc is like talking to her, like he's laying it on thick, like he's just giving all the kudos and breaking down what she did wrong, everything she's doing well and everything like that. And she goes, oh my gosh, she was so sweet. Gives him another hug. Doc goes, oh my goodness. Doc was like, oh my goodness. Yeah, like, yes, you are just amazing. And we just looking at each other like nobody would expect Doc to be as smooth as he was, man. But definitely with, in all respect, he was one of the first people. He was the first person really that kind of made us aware of Faye Jackson, what she was able to do. So it's sad to see her hanging up. Blizz made it very clear she's coming back, according to him. He's like, yeah, I don't care what she says. She's going to come back in some way, shape, or form once, things probably settle and whatever she has going on is situated. But that night we met Faye Jack, that was a miracle. And I was glad I got that story because usually Blake was the one that we harassed. So now everybody left. So I harassed Dre. I said, Dre, use a fraud because you froze up when she came over here. D, I don't know where your words came from. D was pulling the lines out the bag. I'm like, bro, I didn't know you had those in your bag. And then Doc just came and just stole the show. We were like, all right, well, nobody has a chance to even say nothing to her because Doc already, he just cheat. Like when I say, like D was close because D was, when I say D was flex zoning it up, D was flex zoning it up. She was interested. Like they was ready to get her booked on the show. Doc came through. She had no rep for none of us. She was like, oh, okay, go up. There's Doc. I was like, all right, well, there goes that, everybody.
You already gave me idea. Click stories. We're gonna have to do an episode.
Oh yeah, we definitely gonna do click. Yeah, they're definitely doing click stories because we got quite a few.
Got
quite a few.
Let's go home, brother. Let's go home.
Yeah, before we all get in trouble in some way, shape, or form.
Any final thoughts? WrestleMania weekend.
I'm tired. He got me, you got me doing all these goddamn shows going on media tours. I'm like, brother, it's been a while since I did anything like this, man. But
yeah, man,
I had fun. This is I can't think of a better time to do it. 10 years in the game and to be able to do what we've been doing. But I'm tired. I'm tired.
It picks up. Wait till summertime get here.
Yeah, we got SummerSlam. So
shoot, Money in the Bank. Money in the Bank has slowly crept up as the fifth important pay per view. It's kind of taking over King of the Ring.
Speaking of Money in the Bank, I don't listen to me. I got nervous when I seen Triple H hand that briefcase to Bad Bunny. I said, "Oh boy, he's bringing it back for Money in the Bank." I was like, "Well, what's he bringing over?"
I thought it was a Money in the Bank commercial.
Bro, I thought it was an advertisement. I said, "Oh boy, he's coming back." Because everybody kept saying he's a wrestler now. And everybody's like, "Oh, he's not a wrestler. He's a tater. He's not a wrestler." And they're like, "No, he's a wrestler." And I'm like, Triple H said, "Yeah, what you did was cool, but you got enough in this business." I was like, "It's just an NXT contractor." That's what I said. Is it a Money in the Bank briefcase? And it was just him, announcing that he was going on tour. Then I saw the tour and I was like, "Oh, he's ready to tear it up. Like he's got a whole lot of momentum going into everything right now."
Yeah, Hugh already said he getting his tickets for DC.
Man, I was just like, yo, he's booked from February to May, and I was just like, oh shoot, like I was, but he
freaking Doug Williams put him over, and Doug Williams that straight shooter.
He is one of my favorite chain style wrestling that's ever like laced it up like when I watch technical wrestling and that chain style wrestling, and all the flipping and the holds, Doug Williams is the guy. So when I saw him say that, he's a purist. He's a traditionalist. So to see him say that, I was like, oh, wow. Yeah. There's a lot more eyes on this product than people want to admit or give credit to. But the fact that he said that, every legitimate superstar said, no, that celebrity in his prime took the time to do what we had done. What's that? Hey, time out. Is that Dre?
That is Dre.
Dre.
I'm waiting to see. Let's see. Hey, Dre, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
We got Andre Melton on the show, ladies and gentlemen. We was ready to wrap up, but no, sir. The show goes on.
What's going on? Hey, man. I appreciate y'all.
We got stories.
Right.
Yo, Andre Melton. This is the what's your title? Like, what's first of all, how do you want to be addressed?
I mean, look, I was the head of the table before Roman Reigns, but I prefer to call myself the king of the castle.
Okay, well, the king of the castle, Andre Melton. Are you the host of the Flex Zone? There he is. Yo, he got his Flex Zone t-shirt. Oh yeah, the party's still going on now, baby.
Yo, that's that grin I told you about earlier.
Well, I got that Eddie Guerrero, man.
Yo, were you at Jimmy's Seafood today?
Yes, I was there. Actually, in fact, I was there both nights.
Okay.
You went by yourself?
No, me and my lady the first night, and then I went with the Flex Zone tonight.
Okay.
And of course, I'd take my lady again.
Did you get the steak, brother?
The first night I did.
You not doing double steak nights?
Well, actually, tonight I did the tuna steak.
Okay.
Oh, now I know that probably tastes really good because
did.
Yeah, buddy. See, Jimmy's man,
I'm
y'all sleeping on Jimmy's Seafood.
I'm trying to be on that Dwayne Allen, Roman Reigns diet.
Look, man, I'm cutting weight. It's funny watching our promos because I watch our videos from like 2 weeks ago. I'm like, God dang, how fat was that 2 weeks ago?
But this guy, like he's doing so quickly, like it's nothing.
That's because I'm insane. Like I'm not normal. Like I just trust me. You don't want to know half the stuff that I like. I feel like I'm punishing myself. Yo, what did you think of WrestleMania? And I hope you got some time because we're talking about WrestleMania stories, and I need to know about your WrestleMania 28 trip. But before we get to the WrestleMania 28 trip, what did you think of WrestleMania weekend? This all week and stuff. We already went through the card. It's like an hour ago. So this.
I mean, the event overall, I think WWE did a pretty good job. I mean, you're going to have your highs and lows about it. There's going to be some matches that people are going to criticize, some don't. But I think overall, the WWE honestly did a great job with their product. I think that they did a much better job this year than they did last year. And I can understand last year with COVID, you're trying to put things together. But for what they were able to do this year, especially the two main events, like, we were hoping that Sasha and Bianca would close out the show. And then they actually did and put on a great performance. I think that you could tell it was a little rushed, but I think it's because of the rain delay. But for the time that they had, the women executed and shown the future of the business, I think, is within the women's division to me. And then as far as the tribal chief, head of the table, Hall of Famer Edge and your boy, Brian Waters, Daniel Bryan, I think that they.
Hey man, Brian H. Waters. You put the H in there, brother.
My fault. My fault. Brian Triple H Waters over there.
You're doing too much. You're doing too much.
I think that they did a great job too. And to piggyback off what I said about the two main events, SmackDown, you can just tell really is the staple show from the two main events and what they were able to put together tonight for WrestleMania. I'm excited for that brand going forward. The Raw brand, and I still got to see some stuff, but I'm very happy though. I'm very happy for my man Bobby Lashley and MVP, and seeing what the Hurt Business will do within this coming year.
Man, I'm glad you had some fun, man, because that's what it's all about. If anything about Andre Melton is, if this brother's having fun, we all having fun.
Oh yeah.
Oh man. So what was the atmosphere like at Jimmy's? Because I know usually it's kind of live, but I know they've got some type of COVID restrictions and stuff like that. So how was it this time versus compared to how we usually see Jimmy's doing WrestleMania or any type of pay-per-view?
I honestly, Saturday night was more crowded than tonight.
Really? Sure.
I was a little shocked that it wasn't it's the normal crowd. I thought that for WrestleMania and restrictions being lifted, I thought some more people would come out. But who knows? That may change by the time SummerSlam arrives. But
sure,
the atmosphere was okay, but it wasn't as
rambunctious.
Live. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's definitely cool. Okay, so look, WrestleMania, right? Brian H. This is how we got on conversations. Let me fill you in so you know what you get yourself into. Brian H. is talking about every year for the last 10 years. Brian always goes, "That's okay, brother. Next year we're all going to be there. We're all going to be at Mania, man. Trust me, it's just gonna." So he was talking about next year being in Dallas, and I'm like, I said, Brian, every year for the last 10 years you've been saying next year it's going to be our year, man. We're all going to be there. So he was reminding me of when he went at 28 and 33. And I remember you and your crew went on 28. And I kept saying to myself, like, yo, they got some crazy WrestleMania stories because we're going to celebrate our 10-year anniversary. We're doing like an hour-long conversation. We're going to spill some tea. We're going to tell our business about, kind of stuff that happened. And that WrestleMania 28 trip has a lot to do with the story. And I remember, wait a minute, Dre and them had a crazy story for WrestleMania 28. So help me understand. I need to catch up because while y'all was talking about it, I was in the editing bay at the time, right? Trying to mind my business and doing stuff. And Omar was editing the video you guys put together.
WrestleMania down.
Yeah. So tell me about that trip, man. Like, what was your experiences traveling the WrestleMania? Who'd you go with? What was the trip like? And all the ups and downs and hurdles and stuff like that. Let me know so I can take notes because this is going to be good.
All right. So just like my good brother Brian H. Waters, I am a 2-time WrestleMania myself. I went.
You went twice?
I went to 27 in Atlanta and then 28 in Miami.
Wow. So you did back to back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So because I saw WrestleMania that year, and then the way the Undertaker just looked at the end of that match against Triple H, I just had a feeling maybe next year would be his last year. So that was my push to go.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, because if anybody doesn't know, Andre Bell is a huge Undertaker fan.
Dresses up like him
Big
on
time.
Halloween.
Big time.
And if the Undertaker's being inducted into the Hall of Fame next year, which I anticipate he will be, I will be willing to go to WrestleMania in Dallas.
Okay, so
that's just a little background to when you were saying the whole, Brian keeps pushing for us to go back
every year. Now we're gonna be here. We're gonna be in there, brother. We're all gonna make it next year, man. I'm trying to tell you, and every year, it doesn't work out.
We're all Morganites right here on the on this right now, and me, myself, Omar, another Morganite, Brian Gibson, another Morganite.
Yeah, fam.
My boy Brandon and his homeboy Brandon, they went as well. So
it's a bunch of y'all.
Okay. This is gonna be good.
So, we're talking about WrestleMania, talking about it, and we have everything in motion except the plane tickets.
It's getting good already. Go ahead.
So when we don't have the plane tickets, like, what are we gonna do? Like, how are we gonna get to Miami? I'm not driving. First of all, I don't drive no further than Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay.
I feel you.
Flay country.
That's my max.
You sound muffled, bro.
We got
we got to hear this clear.
He's covering the speaker.
Right.
Hold on.
So I don't drive no further than Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
And the year I went to WrestleMania 27, I actually did drive, but it was me and another Morganite, my homeboy Jyree. We end up doing most of the driving, and then one of our boys, Byron, he did some of the driving. You ever have a homeboy that he drives, but he doesn't tell you that he can drive? That's how that kind of situation works. Like, man, if you don't get in this car seat. So WrestleMania don't have that same luxury because it would have just really been me and Brian. Because I don't remember if Omar was driving at the time or not. But so we end up deciding, all right, let's catch the bus down. And that had to be one of the worst decisions I ever agreed to. When I tell you, I don't know how like rock stars live on the road, because it was a day straight on the bus.
Wow.
Like, I could not, and it's not like the bus just, the wheels on the bus just go round and round. Like, that thing is not going. It's literally, it will stop in a city. 4 hours later, it will stop in another city, and you better hope that it just like you can continue to go, or else.
How many stops did it make? Do you remember how many stops the bus made?
Imagine you talking Miami, the bottom.
Yeah, I mean,
from Baltimore.
Maybe I want to say maybe like 4 or 5 stops, because I remember we stopped in Virginia, then we stopped, I want to say, in like North Carolina, and then I think it made another stop in Jacksonville. Then it went to, I want to say, like Orlando, and then to Miami. So
good gosh,
man, we left, I want to say, like 9 o'clock in the morning Friday. We had to get to Miami at like midnight on Sunday. Like, it was just the worst.
Wow, yo.
It was a fun experience, but I would never do that. I would never do that again.
Okay, what happened when you guys got there? Are you trying to get to the arena?
Man, so we touched down, get the rental and everything. We get the room, and it felt like being online again. Like, just all of us is just in that one room.
How many guys was in one room? How many? It was
5 of us. Never again. But so we had some downtime before Mania, so we're at the mall and we're just chilling. Then we're asking, all right, so how can we get to Dolphin Stadium? And I don't know why we did the old school route of asking people to help us get us there. I think the GPS was just messing up. and we kept stopping people to ask them how to get there, and they kept giving us the wrong directions. Like,
and nobody had an iPhone. This
You know what?
2012.
I think somebody did have I want to say Gibson had an iPhone, and
Gibson did have an iPhone then. Yep.
it still didn't lead us to the arena. It led us man. We tried to go to KOD at the time was open, and we tried to go there. We couldn't. His iPhone just, I don't know what it was wrong with that thing. Like, it just did not lead us to any of our destinations. We end up finally getting to Hard Rock Stadium, but we missed the opening match, which was
Daniel Bryan and Sheamus.
Because we're walking in, so I can see it, like, on the huge Titantron.
Mhm.
And next thing you know, like, I'm like, okay, the match just started, and then the bell rings. I'm like, what in the world happened? And you hear Sheamus's music. I'm like, no way.
That's not funny.
It reminded me of like an old WCW match, like how quickly that thing happened. But I mean, overall had a great time once we finally got there, because you got to see the Undertaker end of an era match. You got to see Rock and Cena part 1. You got to see, and when I tell you, like, it's no experience like the WWE experience, but when you have The Rock, his hometown, his first match in years,
right,
in Miami, like, the stadium just shook. Like,
yeah, I said that. It felt like it shook when he won.
Like, I mean, the entrance, I remember all of this. Like, it's like, wow. It's
P.
like
Diddy,
really
MGK,
yeah. I mean,
Flow Rider.
That Flow Rider, yep. Like, it was a legit experience, and something I will always love and treasure to this day.
Oh man, listen to me. When I first heard that story, I was in stitches because I couldn't figure out why y'all couldn't get to the stadium in time to see the show.
Where did we see the footage?
Man, and the worst thing is, when you have that, like, that uncle, and we've all had that, or you get that guy on the block, and like, if you go down three stop signs, make a left by that tree down there, like, it was like that type of directions. I should have known right then and there.
How'd you guys get back to the hotel after after the show?
Well, that's when we tried to go to KOD, and we couldn't find KOD, and we just was like, forget it. And we actually, Brian's GPS finally then worked.
Did you guys like lose the rental car? You didn't remember where you parked or something like that? Was that you guys? Or was that somebody else?
We did lose the rental for it.
Oh man,
Dre, I remember sitting in that lab listening to the story, like, what in the world happened on this trip, though, man? But like I said, I appreciate it. I needed that. That was that was the perfect way to cap off WrestleMania Week Media Talk, man. Like, for those that don't know you, please promote yourself. Like, you are a radio host, you are a radio producer, you are a podcast producer. You do a lot of things, man. So this is like, tell the world exactly who you are. Tell this audience why we brought you on here, so they know exactly who the heck Andre Melton is.
Hey, well, thank y'all. I appreciate y'all for inviting me on. This is Andre Melton. Like, Dwayne gave me a perfect Paul Heyman type of introduction right there. You can catch the Flex Zone Mondays at 10 p.m. on Facebook Live. You can catch me on WEAA. I do behind the scenes work for them, but I'm also on air Friday nights at 10.
Yes, indeed.
On WEAA. You can call my show is called The Kickback. You can watch me there.
I'm still love Dre.
Hey, look, I love them back, but I'm a one-woman man now. Mike Lowry retired, y'all. But
yeah, all right.
But and also I'm still at Morgan. I'm a doctoral student there as well.
Oh, so you did decide to go for the doctoral?
Yes.
You gotta call you. They gotta start calling you Dr. Dre. Oh man, that's gonna be good. Let's, like, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know who the heck Andre Melton is the reason that for like at least like 4 years straight the Wrestling Wrealm was alive in the media because the Flex Zone, even when Brian, left to work at ESPN for those few years, Dre always had us on the show. He always called me down. I had a place to go and just kind of talk wrestling with the guys. And I mean, you talking about just the consummate professional, always a good brother. Dre, we want to thank you personally right now because you have played a very, very key part in keeping this brand alive, man. So we definitely going to bring you back on for another show for more formal, like, we're going to, really shout you out and put you over, you know what I mean? But this is, like I said, we just had to, I'm glad you was able to come on with us just now. Like we wrapping up and I was like, oh no, we got to keep going because my man Dre is on, man. But like I said, man, I appreciate all you've done for us as far as the brand. Like I said, this is a good brother of ours. Like we
NABJ trips too. Remember when we went to DC?
Listen, I met Dre formerly in Boston. Like when I say I met Dre, that's when I met Dre. Like,
hey, bro, we did Miami together, so
I learned all about networking.
Yep.
Business cards do a lot of things, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh man,
good times, man. I appreciate y'all for having me on the show. Y'all are my brothers. Y'all are, not only just for Morgan, but just beyond, man. I appreciate y'all for just being my brothers when I need y'all.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Y'all are always a call or text away. I appreciate the platform that you guys give for what y'all do, man. Just not only with wrestling, but everything else that you guys do. You guys are some good brothers, and I appreciate working with you guys.
Really, bro. We definitely appreciate the support, man.
Hey, yo, one more thing real quick, yo. What's up with the movie? What's the movie called again? I forgot the name of the movie.
There you go, man.
No. You here now. What's it called? It's like Stranger Minds or something. What is it?
And it's funny. Omar was there tonight. The film is called Open Mind.
Open Mind. See, I knew it was something mind. Where's it at, yo? Like, you've been saying it for the last 6 years. You said it 6 years after we graduated.
It's almost finished.
Oh my gosh, you keep telling me the same thing. You just keep telling me the same thing, yo.
Yo, this joint about to win so many awards because it's been in post production for 10 years.
Hey, look, man, you know what? By the time this comes out, you're gonna see a completely different me, man. You're gonna be like, I look completely different. But, the film is almost complete. It will be coming out soon. And just stay tuned. That's all I'll say. Open mind, y'all.
Yeah,
all right.
I'm trying to have an open mind about open mind, but okay. You've been telling me the same thing for the last 6 years, yo. You're killing me. But okay, brother, I got you. It's all right.
Cool. Oh man. Well, WrestleMania season is finally put to bed. We're going to the night after WrestleMania. So y'all catch us on the Wrestling Wrealm Twitter account. That's where y'all catch us at for that. Unless something crazy happens, then I might have to call Dwayne and say, hey, can you get in the studio? Something crazy just happened. We got to talk about it.
Yeah. It's a lot more of those these days.
Yeah, or he'll do a realness react, so I'll do a break it down. We'll figure something out. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on this. We hope you enjoyed WrestleMania just as much as we did. More importantly, we hope you enjoyed this show as much as we did putting it together. Shout out to our brother Dre for coming on, because man, this was a blast. 5 of these in the works, my brother. Let's keep it going. Till the next time, folks, make sure you subscribe. Hit the subscribe button down below. Subscribe on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts. 5-star rating on Apple. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the follow button on Spotify. Until the next time, get out.
Houston, we have a problem.
Yes!